Gobler, which is sat-nav, highways agents live cameras, view rangers for hiking, free parking. You have a stable parking app in Dublin already. This is one of ours. This is UK Travel Options that has traffic and public transport performance data laid over a map. And then we have Bus Mapper, which allows you just to tap in 2 places and find the routes, the best bus routes to take you on your journey. And if you click through, you can then find the live bus data, when the next bus is actually going. And if you want to go and look at what's happened in the London data store, there is an inspirational uses section where you can go and find examples of all these kinds of apps. Okay, so let's shift now to then ask a question. Why do we want to actually launch an open data app? And I wondered exactly what I should talk to you about, whether I should stay on sort of very great general answers, or whether I should dive into a bit of detail. So I'm going to take just a couple of minutes to take a bit of detail. Why launch an open data app? Few data sets, to be honest, are truly vital. Try talking to any of your mates. You're all here because kind of you believe in it and understand it. Try talking to your mates about open data, glazed expression, start talking to you about working too hard, etc., etc. So, you've got to deal with that. What people really want is actionable information, and they will rotivate your list of release data, and they will go through it and say, oh, I've done that, not just that. Now that's about my school, that's about planning inquiries, that's about water, that's about next buses coming that can improve my commute. So what we have to do, and this is how SMEs see it, we've got to identify the things that are truly actionable, because that drives people in to buy things. Make things more convenient, save time or money. Case study, bus companies. There are lots of bus companies in the UK, hundreds of varying different sizes. Customers need information about the buses and will pay to get it. Operators need to improve their customer relationship, because when you get on board a bus with a cash fare, you have no relationship with that bus company. And as you can see in the picture on the right hand side here, satisfied customers tell 3 friends, angry customers tell 3,000 people on Twitter, and that equates to a massive reputational problem. So we've been investing in solutions here which they take the data and they then build a business model around it. We've created an app called Placer.mobi. We don't need to zoom into too much detail, but the concept here is to mash up transport information on the left hand side with a social media service. And so we've created a social media account for every bus stop and point of access to public transport in the UK, which is several 100,000. And for every stop, we're now aggregating every bit of information, service updates from the bus companies, campaign updates from Fix My Transport, delays, comments by users into this platform. This now can be monetized by putting adverts, and also, of course, we can sell back the information to the operators. So how does that work? Here's how it works. Raw data, compiled, updates, comments, delivery as a service. Here's the money part, make an API, charge developers a fee, they give us some money, we ads or pro features for consumers, and then the operator gets a customer relationship. And if we're really clever, we can add analytics and other stuff to the equation. So now what we've done is we've taken data which, okay, you can put it on a departure board, something like the departure board you have on a bus stop. Now put it on your phone. But how interesting is that in the end? You get one fee the first time somebody downloads an app, and that's the end of it. You need a relationship. Constructing a model like this enables you to create a relationship. So that's just a kind of one detailed example of an open data business model. Now, okay, if you're going to get SMEs to bite on this and to really invest, what do they need? Well, I guess you all know this stuff, but I feel it's necessary to state it again, because certainly if you're in government or you're not exposed to the realities of commercial life at the sharp end of a small company, there are realities that SMEs have to deal with. And unless you understand these realities, you can't engage them, because investments are personal, they matter. I can't afford to lose my 20k that I've put into my company. That's my life savings, kind of. So hopefully the housing market will give me a bit more money in time. But, that matters to me. There's a laser-like focus on that money. And so people will not take risks. They will not take your word for it that something might happen. They want facts, and they really want to know that it's going to happen. Tight cash flow. You can't leave SMEs hanging on a string. You know, okay, maybe we'll let you have this data, or maybe we won't. They can't take that kind of risk. They can't afford to access the law. So if you hit them with too many legals, they can't play. Marketing funds are small, so help them by giving them, you know, public listings on an equal basis so that everybody has a level playing field. Support from the state's got to mitigate these problems to be useful to SMEs. If you want SMEs to come and make hundreds of apps in Dublin, you have to deal with these issues. And so in London, the London Data Store has done exactly this, has helped us with all these things. And in fact, a shout out to Emma Coleman, Irish woman who has had an absolutely seminal role in developing UK open data. And it's great that her, you know, Irish kind of directness and drive has really actually helped us hugely over in the UK. Now, the reality, of course, is when I say please respect all these things, you know, the reality is, you know, it's kind of Web 2.0, Gov 1.1. You know, there's kind of a bit of a contradiction there. So let me spell it out. What's the ask? What do we want from you guys? Well, open the data and keep it open. Throw away the keys, please. When it's been opened, throw away the keys. You can't have it back again. You know, release it in such a way that it is dedicated to the public realm, effectively. Keep those rights of attribution. Keep those rights of integrity. That's important, but make it sure it's open, because that affects the investment climate. That affects that personal commitment by an SME. Develop the infrastructure. To make sure that you can actually distribute the data and that there's equality of access to that infrastructure. Please, please, don't compete in government with SMEs. Again, you will kill those green shoots if you try to do that. So that you've got to really think about what that means. I'll give you a case study of that in 1 second. Don't allow system integrators who are already in government, you know, medium to large scale system integrators who are doing a job for government to distribute, don't allow them an inside track. They have to get their data releases and access on the same terms as all the SMEs. If you don't do that, again, SMEs are not going to play. And SMEs, remember, economically efficient, they provide the growth, they provide the agility, and they are ponying up the investment from under the bed. You know, this is the net gain that you're going to get if you allow this. Okay, a small case study, because it's always interesting when you talk about power struggles over data. When we went to Transport for London as the London Data Store and said, the mayor said open the data, can we have the data? We kind of imagined leaving with a USB, you know, with the data on it. And it was kind of very funny, because these requests were met with incredulity. He can't have said that. That's ridiculous. We don't actually open our data. You know, we don't do that. So you expect, when you're dealing with the releases of data, to be met with some misunderstandings and some opposition. There was a sort of period of organisational denial. You may see this, because information, as has already been said, or knowledge is power. Middle management fight back in the case of MyTFL. So here's another one of those apps that was released and then withdrawn in about 12 hours. This was made by a system integrator providing services to do the journey planner within Transport for London, the system integrator, MDV. It's all out in the open now on my blog. They released an app. It was an inside track job. And senior management had to decide in that instant, literally in a matter of hours, are we going to stop this? Because if we don't, then SMEs are all walking away, or are we going to actually allow it? And they stopped it, to their credit. The story's on the blog of my company. If you go there, you can read it. How did we do that? The press got involved, and because the press can bring a kind of moral outrage about inequalities or injustices, and put it on show, and that can do a lot to change the situation. And there was then a reassertion of political authority, because clearly the press get involved, politicians want to understand what's going on, and it's very important that politicians are brought in at that point. And then, of course, what happened? Pragmatic negotiations began. There was a first wave of data releases, and TfL are an open data reference site now globally. They've released everything. We've completely changed their minds. In fact, I go to presentations. Is this on camera? And they say it was their idea. And actually I sit at the back and say, fantastic, we've won. They think it was their idea. Actually, you know, we had to beat them over a head to get the first the data